you can go.
We just need 10.
Yeah, you can go straight in right after that.
All right, so let me pull my timer. Here. We'll do the 10 seconds. Let me know if you're ready. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah. I am. I've got this. I've got the. So we're going Dex first, correct?
Yeah, we'll do the intro, and then we'll just launch right into the top 8, and then we can go through after that the ones that we can go through everything that basically got 6 wins or more.
So we got David Schmuck in the chat already. What's up, Dave? What's gross, man? He said that's just gross. I bet you're looking at the
Yawning.
the top 8. Yeah, that's fine. We can go over that stuff.
All right. Let me know when you're ready. We'll do the 10 seconds.
I'm ready.
All right, we're doing it now. I'm timing. And we're back. Welcome back to the Higher Standards Podcast. I am absolutely not Jason Roscom, but with us each and every week is Chad.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And myself, Bob Healy. Unfortunately, Jason could not be with us today. Jason has, as you have all of you regular listeners probably know, has been on a big fitness kick for the last month or two. And unfortunately, Jason ran so much today that he actually went back in time. So we don't know where Jason is. Maybe he'll be back next week. My bet is he's back in, like, what is it, 1965 when Back to the Future took place?
Yeah.
1955?
He had to. So you're telling me he ran over 88 miles an hour?
88, yeah, exactly. He's back in 1955, which will tie into his other podcast, Project BCR. You should probably check that out. We'll just get that out of the way now, right, Chad?
We might as well. Sully our names already.
But Chad, this is the first podcast you and I have ever done alone.
Yeah, that's true. It feels so much better already.
I want you to look at the amount of viewers we have and listeners and downloads we have for this one. Let's just see.
Yeah, we should mark this date.
So, other important stuff that has happened today, other than Chad and I. I guess we're both co-hosts. He always calls us co-hosts when he dials in the show. So, but by the way, Jason really didn't run backwards into time. He's actually tied up and gagged in my closet.
Whoa.
Anyway, but other important stuff besides you and I guess neither one of us is hosting, right? We're both co-hosting this.
Yeah, co-hosting as one. That's all.
Other important stuff that happened. Prince died.
Oh yeah, that was nuts.
Pro Tour. Oh, there was a Pro Tour.
Wait, first off, if we could get something in the Facebook group saying how many people actually knew who Prince was.
Why? So you and I can feel old?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. So anyway, we had Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad.
Yeah, this weekend was filled with standard. It was just the standard juiciest. It was great.
It was sweet. Did you see the match where I'm trying to think. I think it was it Seth No, not Seth Manfield. Was it Bant Company versus Mono White Humans?
Okay.
And the Mono White Humans guy ripped Avacyn at the last minute to basically win the game. The Band Company guy was at 4. They were in time and turns.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember. It was Michael Majors. He was playing Blue White Humans, I think.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember who he beat out playing Band Company. But, yeah, and he ripped like an Avacyn at the last time. And, yeah,
nice.
It was nutty.
It seems like there were a lot of good top deck games in this Pro Tour, and I was unfortunately unable to catch. I believe it was day 2, or I don't know, day 2 of standard or whatever. I was able to look at some of the final today and some of the first day games, which I think are great because nobody knows what the field consists of at that point.
It's interesting to see how people react to some of the decks that they've never seen, like blue-green or blue-black aristocrats, for instance. Watching Luis Scott Vargas pilot that, and just watching people who had never seen that deck before. Like turn 2 Cryptolith, right? It's like, What?
Yeah, and who was it? I think it was you and I that called Cryptolith Rights. It was going to be doing something at the Pro Tour.
Yeah, I never thought about it with that deck, though, and we can get into it, but it's like turn 1 Loam Dryad. Wait, what am I playing?
Yeah,
Wait, Luis, you're supposed to be playing your standard deck. Your draft deck's gone now.
I had to look that card up. As soon as I'm like, wait, Life from the Loam? No, that's not what this is.
No. But, so Chad, what took it all down in first place?
So, Steve Rubin, a U.S. player, took it all down with white-green tokens, first place. And I don't know, do we know the payouts for first place? Isn't it like 10,000?
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
The bragging rights in and of itself are almost worth it. You get a trip to Madrid.
Nice.
But I believe this was Steve Rubin's first Pro Tour.
Oh, really?
And
good for him.
At the very least, I believe it was his first Pro Tour where he ever played on camera.
You know what that means? That means we can get him on. We can get him on.
Yeah. Okay. Take a shot at it.
Might as well. So
why don't you go through the list, Chad?
All right, going through the list. We're running this on MTG Goldfish because they have the list listed in order, as well as obviously the mothership has it as well. So whichever you go to check it out as, if anything stands out like big prices, because prices have just completely fluctuated over the course of this weekend, I'll make mention of that as well. So in creatures, we're running 4 Hangerback Walker, 4 Thraben Inspector, 4 Sylvan Advocate, and 4 Archangel Avacyn. That's right, I said 4 of them. It's not a normal, but it's what this deck is doing, and it won it all. In spells, we got 3 Oath of Nissa. Jason would be happy. 2 Secure the Waste, 4 Dromoka's Command, 1 Evolutionary Leap, which is interesting, 4 Nissa Voice of Zendikar, another card Jason was big on when it was spoiled. He was kind of on the fence, but I think he started going for it. 1 Stasis Snare, and 4 Gideon Ally of Zendikar. So I was upset that this deck won because I wanted Gideon to drop in price so that I could actually buy some. But I don't think that's going to happen. So in lands, we had a request from a viewer saying we should go over the lands, and
Sure.
I think it's a great idea because based on what land they play first, you can kind of have an idea of what you're going to see, especially after people start net decking all this stuff. So we've got 4 Canopy Vista, 7 Forest, 4 Fortified Village, 7 Plains, and 3 Westvale Abbey because it's got a bunch of tokens. So, yeah, the lands are basically straightforward. Green, white, all the way. It's a very easy package for lands. In the board, he's got 1 more Secure the Waste, 2 Clip Wings, 3 Declaration in Stone, 1 more Evolutionary Leap, 2 Lambholt Pacifist. We can get back to that. 1 Quarantine Field, 1 Sigarda Heron's Grace, 3 Tragic Arrogance, and 1 Linvala the Preserver. Now, going back, Lambholt Pacifist is a werewolf human that cost 1 colorless, 1 green. It's a 3/3, and it can attack unless you control a creature with power 4 or greater. This deck does not have a problem doing that because of all the counters and the emblems that it has on the field.
Or Gideon.
Yeah. And then when it flips, it turns into a 4/4. So again, remember when werewolves flip, all the counters stay on that creature because it hasn't changed being a creature. It just has changed from type to type.
So this deck is sweet. This has got a lot of things going on in it.
Yes.
So even if you play Virulent Plague in your board and you shut this deck down on tokens, it's got Hangerbacks, which aren't great if they die, but I mean, it's still a creature. Thraben Inspectors, Sylvan Advocates.
Yeah.
The deck does just, it doesn't do great without tokens, but I mean, Gideon becomes a 5/5.
Yeah. Not to mention, later in the game, even if they put down a Virulent Plague, if you have the Sylvan Advocate out, the tokens are still surviving.
Yeah, I mean, they need to play a Virulent Plague on curve to start dealing with this deck. And, as we talked about with the green-white tokens deck, I think last episode, this makes different sort of tokens. So the Secure the Waste are warriors, Nissas are plants, and Gideons are knight allies. So even if you get nailed with Declaration in Stone, it's not going to just wipe your board.
Yeah, definitely. And the Hangerback Walkers, you've got the Thropters. So...
This deck has a great ground game. It
So
has Westvale Abbey as a
do you
backup.
think this is more of like a hybrid, like it's aggro / late game because of the Westvale Abbey as well?
I think that, I don't know what team Steve Rubin was on. I forget the name of the team. I think Brian Ronduin was on it as well, and a bunch of other guys. I think they realized something that is kind of a very subtle fact about current standard, and that's there is not a lot to deal with planeswalkers.
Agreed.
And nothing at instant speed. Well, almost nothing at instant speed. You Ruinous Path, but
Nope.
decks play 1, maybe 2. You have Anguished Unmaking, so that's at instant speed, but decks aren't playing a ton of them. And so a turn 3 Nissa is pretty rough. And if you get a turn 3 Nissa and a turn 4 Gideon, which this deck can do very easily, you're doing it. Like a curve out of Thraben Inspector, Hangerback Walker, Nissa Gideon is pretty crazy. Even if you're playing an aggro deck, it's like a 1/2 on turn 1 on the play with an aggro deck is like, well, you're not attacking for a round or two, for a turn or two. Hangerback, okay, I don't care if you attack. I'll just, I don't lose a card.
Yeah.
And then you get Nissa down, and it's like, okay, well, now I'm making blockers every turn. Then you get Gideon down, and now I'm making 2 blockers every turn. And, you just kind of go from there. The other thing I like about this deck is Evolutionary Leap.
Okay.
So Evolutionary Leap's a 1-of in this deck, but because this deck has so much token-making ability, Evolutionary Leap basically acts like a cheaper Duskwatch Recruiter. Because basically you're sacrificing a token, so you're not down a card.
Yeah.
And it costs 1 green instead of 2 colorless and a green, and you go find an actual creature instead of a token.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I like this whole deck. You can use Evolutionary Leap on curve to try and find your Evison.
Yep. You can use because if you get to, you can use what's it called, your Oath of Nissas to help you with your land drops. It plays 4 Dramoka's Command, which is very well positioned right now. All the white removal other than Declaration and Stone is basically enchantment based. This deck's great.
Not only that, because it's running 3 Oaths, even if you're off lands because you're getting, let's say you have 3 of your Westvale Abbeys, you're getting Nissa down on 3.
And the curve on this deck is so low. It's basically
it's
3.
Yeah.
You can survive on 3 mana for a while. You can play your Nissas. You can play Secure the Waste kind of like for just 2 guys for chump blockers. Everything on this deck doesn't go over 4 other than Avacyn.
Yeah.
It's cheap.
Yeah, you're right. Going back to what you were saying about the problem with planeswalkers right now, it's one of those things is you got to remember that even though you have this planeswalker problem down, like if you have Anguish Unmaking, they still get to use the planeswalker before it happens. And with someone like Nissa, you can get a plant, or you can put a +1 counter on each creature you control. That's paying 3 for a Gavony Township. You could emblem Gideon. So even if you think they have it, you can play your Gideon out and emblem him, and they basically are down a card. So,
and with the way this deck's set up, Nissa's a great late game draw too.
Oh yeah.
She's like drawing a Thalia's Lieutenant late game.
Exactly.
So yeah, Gideon has always people have said is a weak card when you're behind, but in this deck, there's a lot of support for him. So I think this is awesome. Going into the board, I think Sigarda's probably there to tangle with Avacyn. She's a 4 or 5 blocker. She makes tokens too. She's still goes into that. Clipwings is such a great card. Have you played with Clipwings at all?
I have not played with it yet because I'm running the blue-red right now.
Okay.
But I don't think I would want to see this if I was playing Dragons or Avacyn at all.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's like Ojutai. Before at the end of your turn, Clipwings.
Yeah.
Oops. And Tragic Arrogance, man, what a great card. Particularly for this deck because you've got enchantments and removal, and you've got you just get to play all this stuff.
Yeah,
So
this deck
cool
is very nice.
So second place.
Before we move on,
yeah.
Avacyn is sitting at 4, costs 121 on Goldfish right now.
Jesus.
So yeah, Avacyn have increased in price. So if you haven't, a lot of people are saying that she's got a possibility of going down, but this placing first, I don't think so.
No. Avacyn saw a lot of play and a lot of camera time this weekend, more importantly, and that tends to be what drives prices up after the Pro Tour's camera time.
Okay.
So she saw a lot of and a lot of timely camera time. Like, she got played a lot of times right when she needed to get played, and turn games around for people. So that's certainly gonna influence the price.
Cool.
So we ready to talk about deck number 2?
Yeah, it's all you.
All right. Second place. That's right. The boogeyman of the format, Bant Company. So this is a pretty stock Bant Company list, but we'll go into it. It's 4 Duskwatch Recruiters, 4 Jace Vryn's Prodigy, 4 Sylvan Advocate, 4 Bounding Krasis, 2 Nissa Vastwood Seer, 4 Reflector Mage, 2 Tireless Tracker, and 2 Archangel Avacyn. In spells, he's got, and this is by Andrea Mengucci of Italy, 4 Dramoka's Command, 4 Collected Company, 1 Ojutai's Command. For lands, he's playing 3 Canopy Vista, 4 Evolving Wilds, 4 Forests, 1 Island, 3 Lumbering Falls, 3 Plains, 4 Prairie Stream, and 2 Yavin Maya Coast. In his sideboard, he's playing 2 Dispel, 1 Invasive Surgery. Now, this is a card I love. We'll come back to this guy. 2 Declaration in Stone, 3 Negates, 2 Surrak the Hunt Caller, 3 Tragic Arrogance, and 1 Dragonlord Dromoka. So Invasive Surgery is from Shadows over Innistrad. It's 1 blue instant. It says counter target sorcery spell. Then it says Delirium. If there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, search the graveyard, hand, and library of that spell's controller for any number of cards with the same name as that spell. Exile those cards. Then that player shuffles his or her library.
Don't know what this is for.
Yeah, I can't. What do you think it's for, Chad?
The card right underneath of it. Declaration in Stone.
Yeah. Certainly that could be one of them. I mean, this is a really cool card. It's totally narrow, but it's really neat. And funny enough, Bant Company gets Delirium pretty easily. I mean, you have 4 Evolving Wilds, you've got instants, you have no sorceries, but you do have lands, creatures, instants. Let's see, actually, maybe you don't get Delirium. I might be totally wrong here. Nope. You know what? I don't think this deck can get Delirium at all. Am I crazy here?
I'm looking.
Not even Planeswalkers.
Yeah, I was gonna consider that.
Nope. Okay, never mind. I was totally wrong. But it is a cheap answer to, basically, it's a cheap answer to spot removal.
If he boards in the Declaration of Stone at the same time he plays Invasive Surgery, it's a possibility. But
yeah, that's true.
That's true. Risky.
Man, Dragonlord Dromoka in the sideboard. What do you think of that?
Well, I've always been on board with Dragonlord Dromoka. He's a card that completely stonewalls control. I don't know what they were thinking they were going to see as far as control is, and I think that's why they only ran 1. But why not? Have a top deck on this, because this can completely turn a game around if you're on the back foot.
This stonewalls. I'll tell you what else this stonewalls. The mirror.
I could see that.
I mean, I had this played. I played a guy on a Monday night who was playing just a Bant mid-range list, and he played Dromoka as a sideboard card.
All right.
And the only way I won that game is I top-decked the Clipwings. And I literally top-decked it, cast it on my turn, and killed it. But that thing, had it gotten to attack, I mean, the lifelink in the mirror is totally relevant. You basically take away half of what makes the Bant Company deck good, which is being able to cast spells on your opponent's turn and use the mana efficiently.
Yeah. Speaking of, there are no Clipwings in this board. Do you think that is a correct choice? I mean, obviously it made second in the...
He's got Tragic Arrogance, so if you're looking to get rid of Dromoka or, anything like that, I mean, it's possible. I guess you could, maybe not. I mean, if you're playing against Esper Dragons, yeah, I don't know, man. It's ballsy, no Clipwings. I mean, it certainly worked out for him.
Yeah, and for anybody that wants to check on a really in-depth review of this, he did the first deck tech on the Pro Tour, made it all the way to second place. So he's very animated when he does the deck tech, which is pretty hilarious, and he's just very so passionate about how we built the deck.
That's cool. So you want to take number 3, which this makes me. I can't tell you how happy this deck makes me.
All right.
Makes me so happy.
So in third we had Seth Manfield with Esper Control. We are running one creature, Sphinx of the Final Word. This is a creature that I think this was one of the first spoiled cards.
It was
of this set. And
no, it's from it was from what's it called in that Battle for Zendikar?
The one right after.
we can't do sets today.
Yeah. So I'll just read it right now. It's a 5/5 Sphinx with Sphinx of the Final Word, can't be countered. It has flying and hexproof, and instant and sorcery spells you control can't be countered by spells or abilities. Then he's running 32 spells, and other than that, it's just lands. So the spells are 4 Anticipate, 4 Grasp of Darkness, 4 Ultimate Price, 2 Ruinous Path, 2 Spell Shrivel, 4 Languish, 3 Narset Transcendence, 2 Dark Petition, 2 Jace Unraveler of Secrets, 1 Ob Nixilis Reignited, 1 Planar Outburst, 1 Silumgar's Command, and 2 Sorin Grim Nemesis. So this is basically like your Planeswalker party right here. Mm-hmm. In lands, he's got 1 Choked Esturi. I don't think we've ever said that card.
That's the black. That is the blue-black
Shadowland.
Shadowland.
Yeah. We've got 4 Evolving Wilds, 3 Island, 1 Plain, 4 Prairie Stream, 4 Shambling Vent, 4 Sunken Hollow, and 6 Swamp. While we're going over the lands, I'd like to make a point that he's only running 1 of the Shadowlands, and I think, like, at this time, that's the right choice, because
he's not running a lot of basics, and he's only got 4 Prairie Streams, so which will count for your Shadowlands. So he's not running a lot of lands that could, could really get him what he needs to play that untapped.
Yeah. So running 1 is I think is the right choice. It's 27 lands for if I didn't mention that. And in the board we have 2 Duress, 3 Jace Vryn's Prodigy, 2 Negate, 1 Transgress the Mind, 2 Anguish Unmaking, 1 Infinite Obliteration, 2 Kalatas Trader of Get, and 2 Dragonlord Ojutai. So yeah, this is just like the Planeswalker package plus the Sphinx of the Final Word for the endgame.
Well, Sphinx is such a good card in this meta. I mean, the thing is nigh impossible to get rid of. Languish doesn't kill it. You need Planar Outburst, or you need and Tragic Arrogance actually really doesn't do anything to this because it's the only creature in the deck. So
yeah,
this thing's nutty. I mean, man, this thing must have been a house if he played a Control Mirror too.
I'm sure.
And in main decking it, so the thing to notice about this deck is it looks like Seth Manfield figured out the problem with Control, which is there's not a lot of card draw. Dig Through Time is gone. There's a very good article that Shaheen Sarani put out a few days before the Pro Tour about why he thought Esper Dragons was no longer a really good deck, and he said it was because Dig Through Time is gone, and that was what got you out of so many scrapes, because not only was it draw 2 cards, but it was draw the 2 that you want, or scry 8, draw 2.
Yeah.
And with that gone, you kind of, you have the Drown Yard, which, that doesn't really do it. It's not really that good of a card because it lets your opponent choose which pile you get to keep.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Seth Manfield and his team figured out how to build Control, which was, it's not about card draw anymore, it's about card selection.
Yeah.
They've got 7 pieces of card selection in this deck, 4 Anticipates and 3 Narsets. And then there's 2 Dark Petition, which basically let you go get the card that you want.
Yeah.
And all of his removal is under 3 or under. So, I mean, he's got all the card selection in the world, which is, I think, how you maybe have to build Control now. So it's not about outdrawing your opponent; it's about finding the right answers.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, and he's running 27 lands, which I think is it has to be because of that reason. He's trying to get to all these late game wins. Yeah,
and you want to be able to, hold an Anticipate in your hand,
mm-hmm.
and go Anticipate on your opponent's turn when they cast something and grab like a Spell Shrivel, or or a piece of removal. So you want to have enough mana to do 2 or 3 things in one turn. By the way, Spell Shrivel. So like this card, it's 2 and a blue. For those who don't know it, it's from Battle for Zendikar instant. It's devoid. It says counter target spell unless its controller pays 4. If that spell's countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's yard. So why do you think Spell Shrivel over any of the hard counters, Chad?
The only reason I would say that is because it's only 1 blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you look at his cards, he's got double black and Ruinous Path. He's got double black and Grasp of Darkness. He's got gold cards in Narset. He's got double black Complainer Outburst. He's got gold cards in Silumgar's Command and Sorin Grim Nemesis.
Yeah.
He's got double blue in Jace. He's got double black in Ob Nixilis. His mana base is really heavily taxed here. And he really wants double black early on and just 1 blue. He really doesn't need white till later in the game at all. And so trying to get that double blue on, he wants 1 blue so he can cast his Anticipates, and double black for his Grasp of Darkness, his Ruinous Paths. So trying to get that double blue is probably really, really difficult with a mana base to get your hard counter like a you Scattered to the Winds or what have you.
Cool, very cool.
This is a cool deck. I want to go play this at Epic. And no Jace in the main board. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
People finding out Jace is not as good as he used to be.
I feel like playing Jace is one of those, you're just playing a target at that point, and if you don't have it in there, people are just holding spells for removal. Like the main deck spells for removal, and having only the Sphinx of the Final Word is just, okay, they're dead cards in his hand.
Yeah, and it's like, if they play you in a long game and all they see is a Sphinx, do you really think that they're going to side in Clipwings? Like, maybe they are, right?
Yeah, I can almost guarantee they'll side out all of their...
Yeah, and it's like, well, do I side in Clipwings for the 1 card in the deck? You know what I mean? And then, like, you side in Dragonlord Ojutai in Game 2, and they're like, oh, man, why did I not bring in Clipwings? And then you can side him back out in Game 3.
That's a good point.
If it goes to Game 3, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny, too, that Sphinx of the Final Word was the card that they chose, and Clipwings still gets around it.
Oh yeah, no. Clipwings is a card, man. Like, don't. It's not a draft common, that's for sure.
No hate.
All right, so I know that I just said that Shaheen Sarani wrote an article saying Esper Dragons is a bad deck. However, in 4th place we have Esper Dragons by Shota Yasuka. So he's playing 10 creatures, 4 Jace for his Prodigy, 4 Dragonlord Ojutai, and 2 Dragonlord Silumgar. He's got 23 spells in his spell package, 2 Clash of Wills, 2 Grasp of Darkness, 4 Silumgar Scorn, 2 Transgress the Mind, 3 Ultimate Price, 3 Foul Tongue Invocation, 2 Painful Truths, 1 Read the Bones, 3 Languish, and 1 Ob Nixilis Reignited. For lands, he's playing 27. He's got 3 Caves of Quelos, 4 Choke the Statuary, 1 Island, 2 Port Town, 3 Prairie Stream, 2 Shambling Vent, 1 Submerged Boneyard, 4 Sunken Hollow, and 4 Swamp.
I would just like to mention, you definitely made me just completely obliterate a Statuary last there. I said that horribly in the last deck. All right, moving on.
I didn't want to correct you. In the sideboard, he's got 2 Deadweights, 3 Duress, 2 Negate, 1 Anguished Unmaking, 1 Infinite Obliteration, 1 Virulent Plague, 2 Kalitas Trader of Get, 1 Dark Petition, 1 Dragonlord's Prerogative, 1 Sorin Grim Nemesis.
That's a lot of one-ups.
Well, I mean, this, one of the things I heard from some guys that I know that were at the Pro Tour was that Esper Dragons, there were a bunch of people on Esper Dragons, and that they all said it was a bad deck. Like, all of them apparently said, yeah, this deck's not that great. Apparently it's good enough to get to 4th place in a Pro Tour.
Yeah. That hurts. I'm loving the inclusion of Dragonlord Silumgar. I mean, we know that was in Esper Dragons, but I'm glad it's still sticking around. I mean, I know it's also for the fact that the Silumgar Scorns are in the main, but I love that card.
Well, I mean, it's pretty well positioned right now. I mean, think about it. Blue-white control, which we didn't see in any of the top tables, or not blue-white, black-white.
Yeah.
Which you didn't see it in any of the top tables, but you know it's going to be around. That plays a ton of Planeswalkers. The tokens deck plays Planeswalkers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of big chunky creatures that get played, unless you're playing aggro, most decks are more mid-rangey, and they just play like Reality Smashers, or Thought-Knot Seers, or whatever. And Silmgar does a pretty good job. I mean, heck, even taking their Sylvan Advocate later in the game is a pretty good play.
Yeah.
But look at his look at his card draw here, split between 2 Painful Truths and a Read the Bones.
Yeah, Painful Truths is the real deal. That.
Yeah, it is. But with all the hyper aggro decks running around, I have to wonder. I have to think that maybe that's why the other control deck did better than this, because there's no card draw that's dealing damage to you.
Okay.
Nothing in that deck deals damage to you, other than Ob Nixilis. I mean, and he deals some damage. But all of it's no card draw; it's all card selection, and it's an instant speed, which is a little helpful. Well, the anticipates are.
True.
But yeah, this is this is your stock Esper Dragons list. 3 languishes. Obviously, knowing that Bank Company is going to be a thing, those are like an auto include.
Yeah.
But keep in mind out there that when you build a deck like this, your spell package, particularly your spell package, you want to tweak to what you think you're going to play. So net decking this deck, you might do horribly at your FNM, because this deck was made for a very specific meta. The removal packages are made for a very specific meta, and like if everybody is playing hyper aggro decks, like humans, like if 70% of your FNM store is playing humans, then maybe Languish is, or not Languish, maybe you want to cut down on stuff like your Ob Nixilis, for instance. Maybe he's not such a great card to be playing, or maybe you want to take your Clash of Wills out because they've got stuff that's lower to the ground, and put more Grasp of Darkness system or something.
Good point.
So what did we hit in 5th place there, Chad? This deck was awesome.
I thought I hit the back button. Refreshing. All right, there we go. We've got. So, okay, yeah. Bleen, man, I am butchering words today.
You're not doing well today, man.
Black Green Aristocrats by Luis Scott Vargas. Or Luis Scott Vargas. Man, my apologies. All right. I'm running 30 creatures. I really like this deck as well, and this is the one we were talking about earlier. 4 Blister Pod, 4 Loam Dryad, 4 Duskwatch Recruiter, 4 Elvish Visionary, 4 Zulaport Cutthroat, 4 Catacomb Sifter, 2 Liliana Heretical Healer, and 4 Nantuko Husk. Seems kind of similar to something we've seen in the past.
It's about to get unsimilar real quick.
In spells, we have 3 Cryptolith Rite.
Yes, they broke it.
And 4 Collected Company. So in lands, we've got 8 Forest, 4 Hissing Quagmire, 4 Lanalore Waste, 4 Swamp, and 3 Westbell Abbey, because who doesn't like a 9/7 flying lifelink indestructible haste creature? In the board, we're running 4 Transgress the Mind, 4 Ultimate Price, 1 Fleshbag Marauder, 2 Tireless Tracker, 2 Ulvenwald Mysteries, and 2 Kalatos Trader of Gut. Now, we've gone through all this deck, and there were a couple cards that a lot of people are probably like, I don't remember what that card does. So let's go over those. First, we're going to do Blister Pod. It is 1 green. It is a 1/1 with Devoid, Eldrazi Drone. When Blister Pod dies, put a 1/1 color Scion creature token onto the battlefield. It has, as everybody knows, sacrifice this creature, add 1 to your mana pool. The second is Loam Dryad. Go for it, Bob.
So Loam Dryad is 1 green, creature Dryad Horror. It's a 1/2, and you tap Loam Dryad and tap another untapped creature you control, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So it makes them a Birds of Paradise.
Nice.
But when I first saw this deck, I saw Luis go turn 1 Loam Dryad, turn 2 Cryptolith Rite, and I remember thinking to myself, no man, Luis, like, LSV, it's the draft portion of the Pro Tour's over now. You gotta play your standard deck. You bought the wrong deck, man. Like, you gotta play 60 cards, not 40.
Hey, yeah, look at that deck size over there.
And then he just exploded. Like, he played Loam Dryad, Cryptolith Rite, and then I think he played on his next turn like a Blister Pod and a Duskwatch Recruiter, and then it was like turn 4. I mean, he just like played his hand, drew a ton of cards off Duskwatch Recruiter because the way this deck works is it all revolves around Cryptolithrite and Collected Company. I mean, you basically all of your creatures make you mana. Yeah, become birds of paradise. And then I saw him, no lie, have 3 cutthroats out, and he tapped 3 cutthroats, a visionary, and I think it was a catacomb sifter, tapped all of them for mana, and then tapped his Westvale Abbey, sacked all 5 of them, dealt 15 damage to his opponent, and then attacked him with Ornamendahl to kill him. And it was like on turn 5. I mean, it was just nutty.
Yeah, this deck can get big very quick, and even if it doesn't, it's got the game of just burning you out with Zulaport Cutthroat or draining you.
I played this deck at FNM, so
nice.
I saw it, Thursday or Friday morning, and I built basically this deck. And I have to tell you, it feels like Rally the Ancestors. Nantuko Husk is still just as annoying as ever. If this gets out with another creature, removal becomes hellish for your opponent. Liliana basically acts like your Rally the Ancestors. She's not nearly as good, but she can still get you a Catacomb Sifter back, and that's 2 bodies for your Nantuko Husk. Or I remember I killed my opponent for I dealt 16 damage to him on turn 4 or 5 because I attacked with the 2 husks. I had sacked a Blister Pod before combat, and then recurred it with Liliana and sacked it again, and then had 2 more tokens, sacked those after post-combat for damage. This deck looks like a bunch of draft commons, small creatures, and stuff that dies to languish. It is anything but that.
And it doesn't mind. It doesn't mind if you languish, because if it's got the cutthroats out, it's already done its job.
Well, Collected Company just puts it right back in the game. I mean, you hold your Collected Company, you can play your hand out really, really easily with this deck, and then you just hang on to a Collected Company for insurance, and it's not like Bant Company where you want to have stuff enter the battlefield to get its effect. You don't really care about that. Your Collected Company is simply to just gum up the ground more. So if they're playing Languish, or like Chandra, you just wait. They drop it, they wipe your board, and then at the end of their turn, Collected Company.
Yeah, and on turn 2 with Duskwatch Recruiter, since you have Collected Company, it's one of those games where you can just wait your turn and have it transform every time.
Oh, and with Duskwatch Recruiter, if you've just got a bunch of creatures out, whether they're little tokens like Eldrazi Scions or just all these little creatures coming up the board, every turn you can tap them all and activate your Duskwatch Recruiter plus all your mana. I mean, I had a game where I literally activated my recruiter 5 times at the end of my opponent's turn. I got 2.5 Collected Companies at the end of my opponent's turn. It was really silly. And I went and found more creatures, and then I just tapped some more of my creatures and the 5 mana I had available, and played more creatures.
Yeah, this deck looks extremely fun to play.
Yeah. It's got some problems against tokens. I played a tokens deck. You couldn't compete.
It's just a speed game, or what?
No, I mean, the thing is, you don't have removal in this deck at all. And you don't have a Reflector Mage that you can collect a company into and get something away for a turn. There's no bounce. Really, you're kind of dependent on either just overwhelming them, or you're dependent on Westvale Abbey, or Zulaport Cutthroating them out. But the problem with Cutthroats is they're a little slower, because it's not like you need 2 or 3 to really cutthroat them out hardcore. It's not like Collected Company where you can sack your board, recur it, and as long as you've got 9 creatures on the board, you can do 18 points of damage with 1 cutthroat.
Yeah, and I like the inclusion of Liliana makes it so that her -X when she's flipped to a Planeswalker can get those cutthroats back. It can get things like Fleshbag Marauder back if you brought that in. Yep. It can draw you a card with Elvish Visionary, just very good.
And her plus ability is very relevant. It doesn't seem like it, but this deck plays its hand out a lot.
I can see that.
And a lot of times on turn 3 or 4. So by the time you drop her and you flip her, you don't have any cards. So plussing her is just fine. You're not down anything.
Yeah, and not to mention her zombie doesn't come into play tapped, which is normally a zombie thing. But that means it's just another Birds of Paradise.
So if you look in his board, he's got ultimate prices for removal. He's got Fleshbag Marauder for removal, Tireless Tracker for those longer games. Uvenwald Mysteries is a cool card. It's 2 and a green, and it says it's an enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, investigate. And whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a 1/1 human soldier creature token onto the battlefield. So again, I mean, it continues to gum the ground up and lets you draw cards. And then it's got Kalidas, which kind of stops a lot of aggro decks pretty cold.
Okay.
You know, I mean, he's just... And Nantuko Husk is a zombie, so there's a little bit of synergy with that. I mean, not a lot. I don't think you're going to want to always sack your Husk to him, but there's that.
So, the one thing before we move on from this, the deck... The highest cost of this deck is Collected Company. If you have your Collected Company, there's no reason why you can't just make this deck with $20 in your pocket.
Nope. And the best part about this deck is it runs 23 lands, which seems light when Collected Company is your top end, and you've got 6 3-drops in here. But the best part is with Cryptolith, right? Like you never have mana problems. It's silly.
Yeah.
Catacomb Sifter also will help you get there with Collected Company because you play him on turn 3, you get your Scion. It's just like playing Rally the Ancestors. You know, if you're not sure if you're going to get your 4th land drop, play Catacomb Sifter, untap, and then you got your Scion. You can play Collected Company with 3 lands, so you're good. But so then moving on, unless you got anything else with Black Arena Aristocrats, Chad.
No, that was my final thought.
So this would be 3rd, 4th, 5th. So in 6th place, we had Johnny Finkel, playing Black-Green Control.
I still don't know what this deck does.
Alright, I'm gonna explain to you what this deck does because I built it and played it, not for FNM, just on the side. But
okay.
This is cool, and I watched him do ridiculous stuff with this deck, and then I did it myself. So it plays 4 creatures, 2 Nissa Vastwood Seer and 2 Kalidas Trader of Get. 30 spells. 1 deadweight, and Chad, I want you to read the casting cost off as I read these spells. Okay, this is important. 1 deadweight.
1 black.
2 duress.
Black.
4 grasp of darkness.
Black.
2 transgress the mind.
1 and a black.
2 ultimate price.
1 and a black.
1 infinite obliteration.
1 black.
4 read the bones.
2 black.
3 ruinous path.
1 black.
4 languish.
2 black.
4 dark petition.
3 black.
1 Nissa's renewal.
5 green.
And 2 seasons past.
4 green.
Okay, now 3 evolving wilds, 26 lands. 3 evolving wilds, 5 forests, 4 hissing quagmire, 2 Llanowar Waste, 15 swamps. In his sideboard, he has 3 deadweight, 2 duress.
12 swamps.
Oh, 12 swamps. Sorry.
No problem.
3 deadweight, 2 duress, 1 clip wings, 3 naturalize. Yep, still in the format.
I was gonna say, is that a card?
It is still a card,
all
yeah.
Right.
1 ultimate price, 1 infinite obliteration, 2 virulent plague, 1 Kalidas Trader of Get, and 1 orbs of warding. All right.
That's cool.
So orbs of warding is pretty neat. So here's what this deck does. This deck, let me read Seasons Past to everybody. It is 4 and 2 green. It's a sorcery. It says return any number of cards with different converted mana costs from your graveyard to your hand. Put Seasons Past on the bottom of its owner's library. All right.
Okay.
There are 3 1-drops. Okay, if you count creatures and everything, there are 3 1-drops. There are 8 2-drops. There are, let's see, 1, 4, so that's 5, and 3 ruinous paths is 8, and 2 Nissas, 11 3-drops. There are 6 4-drops. There are 4 5-drops, and if you count Seasons Past, there are 3 6-drops.
This is too much magic math for me.
All right, so here's how this works. You play a control deck. It's basically almost mono black control. I mean, you're just playing all the good black removal. You have Nissa to kind of help you get to your lands. You have Kalidas. Okay, you have a lot of hand disruption. You've got all the good removal, and you just wait till you can get to your Seasons Past or your Dark Petition.
Okay.
So if you get to Dark Petition, even if Spell Mastery doesn't work, you Dark Petition and you go get Seasons Past. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then as long as you make your next land drop, which with 26 lands you will, you play Seasons Past and you draw, sitting down,
yeah,
anywhere from 6 to 7 cards. because the deck is built in such a way that you will almost always have 1 drops, 2 drops, 3 drops, 4 drops, 5 drops, possibly a 6 drop in This Is Renewal, and an Evolving Wilds land in your graveyard.
Wait. You can get lands?
Yeah, it's a 0 drop.
Oh, that's sick. That's pretty sick.
So you draw what Seasons Past in this deck basically reads is draw 5 to 6 cards, and it's not even random cards. Draw 5 to 6 cards that you already cast.
Oh, man.
And wait, are you sitting down?
Yeah.
It's not done.
All right.
You cast Dark Petition, you get Seasons Past, you untap, you cast Seasons Past, and as your 5 drop, you go get Dark Petition. Seasons Past goes in the bottom of your library. You untap, you cast Dark Petition and go get Seasons Past again. You go get the rest of your cards in your graveyards, and you can continuously get Dark Petition back and go find Seasons Past.
That is...
So
that is
every
pretty
time
awesome.
you run your hand out of removal, no big deal. You just go get my Seasons Past, and then go get all the removal back.
Yeah, I was wondering why Seasons Pass was just a 2 of, but now it makes complete sense that he's running for Dark Petition.
Because you're basically running 6 Seasons Pass, because you're running 4 Dark Petition. Oh, and you've got Infinite Obliteration, Read the Bones, Ruinous Path, or all 3 drops too. So I mean, if you're in a pinch, you can just go get them too.
Yeah.
If you've got Spell Mastery. So this deck is awesome. It is a lot of fun.
So, alright, I'm looking at what he can grab with Nissa. So he's got the 5 forests there. And is Nissa just there as a ramp spell? Like a Borderland Ranger? Or does she usually flip?
Well, I mean, yeah, and because you've got like one Nissa's Renewal, sometimes, you get a lot of lands. And the thing is, you kind of don't care if she's a chump and gets you a land and then dies, you kind of don't care. You just get her back with Seasons Past.
Nice.
So, and you'll get her back when you have 6 lands. So then you just cast her the next turn, and you go find your other forest, and you're definitely going to flip her because you've already got 6 lands to cast Seasons Past.
Very cool. Yeah, David Schmuck mentioned. Yeah, she's card draw. So, good point.
I mean, the thing with this is the reason I like this deck so much and spent a bunch of time on it is this is beautifully built. Like, look at how all the synergy, and it's not just card synergy, it's in the mana cost. Like, this is why guys like Jon Finkel are 20-year pros, Hall of Famers. Like, this is, if you're wondering why a guy like Jon Finkel, who doesn't play in a lot of stuff and just goes to Pro Tours now, why he still gets bragging rights and gets to walk into a testing house after not playing the format until 2 weeks before the Pro Tour. I mean, I'm sure he plays more than that. This is why. Decks like this.
Yeah.
So this deck is sweet.
Yeah, man. How would you feel if you were playing this as your first deck of the game? Like,
well, and I'm not saying he built it, but I mean, he definitely maybe he did, but he definitely piloted this thing.
That's what I mean. I mean, if you went into the Pro Tour and you're like, all right, I got my band company, I've got the boogeyman, everybody's gonna be scared of it, and you see like this first game, oh, deadweight, what?
Well, so Bant Company a lot of times will out-card advantage you. Because, that's what happened. That's how it beat the Esper Dragons deck, was it out-card believe it or not, it out-card advantaged the control deck because it just kept collected company, flashing it back, and doing it. So against a deck like this, it's like, okay, I have removal for everything you're going to play. I don't really care if you bounce my creatures all that much. Or tap them down. I don't have a lot to begin with. And then, okay, so you've run my hand out of all my removal, and now you're going to cast Collected Company.
Yeah.
Like, I languished you once, it stank, but you top deck the Collected Company, and I have it all back. Like, oops.
Is this something that you can see? Obviously, this is going to be a deck that a lot of people are playing, but do you think this is a deck that can be turned to a different color, like other than black? Maybe blue, green?
No, Dark Petition's a huge piece to this deck.
Oh,
it goes and gets you Seasons Past. I mean, okay. It's and then you get it back with it allows the engine to recur itself. You just get it back, and then you go get another Seasons Past.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yep.
Well, and Dave Schmuck mentioned that Finkel gave Reed Duke credit, as well as one other person that he can't think of.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, Reed Duke, of course, is another guy that's like 15-year Magic Pro Hall of Famer. I mean, guys like that. I mean, who build decks like this. This is why they are where they are. I mean, this deck is beautiful.
So moving on to what is it, 7th?
Yeah, this is 7th. All right, Chad.
All right,
this is for Jason.
This is a deck Jason can get behind because it is a ramp deck. It was built by Brad Nelson. By Brad Nelson.
No. Say the name of the deck.
So this is a ramp deck, and it is proclaimed as Goggles Ramp.
All right, go through the deck, and then we'll talk about the ramifications to Jason's world.
4 creatures, 1 Dragonlord Atarka, 3 Worldbreaker. Not really Jason's package, but we'll move on. 32 spells, 3 Fall of the Titans, 4 Fiery Impulse, 3 Magmatic Insight, 3 Traverse the Underworld, Ulvenwald, 4 Tormenting Voice, 4 Kozilek's Return, 2 Niss's Pilgrimage, 2 Hedron, 4. How many did I say before? It's 4 Tormenting Voice, 4 Kozilek's Return, 4 Niss's Pilgrimage, 2 Hedron Archive, 3 Pyromancer's Goggles, 2 Chandra Flame Caller. In lands, we're running 3 Cinderglade, 4 Drownyard Temple, 8 Forest, 4 Game Trail, and 5 Mountain. So since I've been playing Blue-Red, I love Drownyard Temple.
It's really cool. Card. It's a really cool card.
In the board, he's running 3 Rending Volley, 3 Den Protector, 2 Draconic Roar, 3 Tireless Tracker, 2 Goblin Dark Dwellers, 1 more Chandra Flamecaller, and 1 more Dragonlord Atarka.
So Jason wants to play ramp. A ramp deck makes the top 8 of the Pro Tour, but it has the one card he thinks is horrible in it. Hey, by the way, for all you viewers out there, if you've never looked up the definition of irony, go look it up in the dictionary right now. This deck list is sitting right there with Jason's picture next to it. So what do you think about this deck, Chad?
I mean, I've never been on the ramp kick, but being able to filter your hand this well, especially because what can you get to Goggles on turn 3, 4? Being able to do that is nuts. And then drawing 4 cards off Tormenting Voice, drawing 4 cards off Magmatic Insight. This deck can be real.
This deck took all the cool stuff about the blue-red control deck and then just got rid of the color that was really bad in it, which was blue.
Oh.
It did. I mean, I'm not saying the deck is bad, but I'm saying the weak color in that deck by far was blue. And it just took Goggles, and it's, the people who built this must have said, if Goggles is really good on turn 5, imagine how cool it is on turn 4.
Yeah.
And this deck has the ability to not just ramp into big stuff, but it can just fall the Titans you to death.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a big win in the blue-red control, but this does it even better because you've got so much more lands.
Transverse the Ulvenwald solves the problem of ramping into nothing.
Yeah.
So does and so does all the card filtering. I mean, this, and the problem that ramp has where like they were relying on Niss's Renewal to be card draw, and you don't need that anymore. You just need your Goggles and a timely Magmatic Insight or Tormenting Voice. Yeah,
this looks like a very enjoyable deck, and like we mentioned when we were going over, I believe it was Todd Anderson's blue-red control, with the Goggles, you cannot hit Kozilek's Return because it is devoid.
No, you cannot. But yeah, this deck, if I were going to build ramp, I could see this. I could see it. And how about Brad Nelson, man? Guy who was this his first Pro Tour? I know he's been an SCG guy for a while, but was this the first Pro Tour? Nah, it can't be the first.
I think it might have been his second.
Yeah, he hasn't been on a lot.
He was the Player of the Year a couple years back, and the big thing to note that he went undefeated. I think 8-0 from draft into standard.
Yeah, he and Luis Scott Vargas were the only 2 8-0s on day 1.
Yeah.
So
kudos.
Yeah, 9th place or 8th place. 8th place we have Jason's gonna hate this. Red white goggles.
I don't know if there's a lot that Jason's going to like out of this Pro Tour.
Yeah, it's true. By Luis Salvato, and Luis actually apparently called this Eldrazi Burn. Okay. So he's running 10 creatures, 2 Eldrazi Displacer, 2 Matter Reshaper, 4 Thought-Knot Seer, and 2 Goblin Dark Dwellers. Jason, get behind that card.
All the good Eldrazi right there.
Basically. He's running 24 spells, 2 Fall of the Titans. There it is again. 3 Fiery Impulse, 3 Lightning Axe, 2 Magmatic Insight, 4 Tormenting Voice, 3 Fiery Temper, 1 Nahiri the Harbinger, 3 Chandra Flamecaller, and why would you run Tormenting Voice, Magmatic Insight, Fiery... Why would you run... And Fall of the Titans, why would you run all that stuff, Chad?
Because they're all red sorceries or instants.
For 3 Pyromancer's Goggles. So then he's running 26 lands, 4 Battlefield Forge, 2 Caves of Quellos, 3 Drownyard Temple, 8 Mountain, 4 Needlespire, 2 Plains, 1 Shivan Reef, and 2 Westvale Abbey. In his sideboard, he's got 1 Dual Shot. That is the 1 red instant from Shadows of Innistrad that deals 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. 2 Rending Volley, 3 Secure the Waste, 1 Avacyn's Judgment, 2 Hallowed Moonlight, 2 Eldrazi Obligator, 1 Nahiri the Harbinger, 1 Planar Outburst, and 2 Linvala the Preserver. So thoughts on this list, Chad?
The first thing I see is running the 2 Westvale Abbeys in the main. I'm guessing they're just for the Wastes color?
Yeah, I mean, why not? You know, I mean, they make humans. If you get to 5 creatures, you get to 5 creatures.
Yeah,
but
that's
I mean,
a good point. That's a good
point. You know what's kind of interesting? I wonder if this has ever happened. And this is just my crazy brain, but like, so let's say you have like an Eldrazi Displacer, a Matter Reshaper, maybe I've got a Thought-Knot Seer there out, and then you play Chandra, and then you make 2 tokens, and then you sack them and the other 3 guys to Westvale Abbey.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing or if it's ever been done. My brain instantly went there. Like, how can I get to 5 creatures?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I'd like to mention the fact that Eldrazi Displacer and Goblin Dark Dwellers are gross together. Yep. Being able to cast something for 3 or less from your graveyard when you've already used all of this stuff. And the... So I need to read Dark Dwellers really quick. It's without paying its mana cost. I didn't.
Yeah, without. Yeah, you can't. Oh yeah, you can't get a combo with Pyromancer's Goggles. Yeah. No. Okay. But and one Nahiri and another in the board. So she's been starting to creep up and see some play. And at least in my experience, what I've seen people use her for really, it's the -2 ability to remove enchantments.
Okay.
So with Cryptolith Rite becoming a thing, my bet is you see more of her because she's only really like 1 more than some standard enchant removal in the format. She's in off colors that don't usually let you remove enchantments. Well, white does, but there's really no white. I don't think there's any white enchantment removal right now.
Yeah.
And then she'll also catch a creature or Goggles. She takes out tapped artifacts, so takes out Goggles.
Yeah, and she's only at 579 right now, so she's an easy pickup because of the fact that she's going to be lasting for quite some time.
Yeah, definitely pick her up. If nothing else, she's a good sideboard card if you're in those colors.
This deck wins on all angles.
But what have we seen here though? We have seen.
Well, what do you mean? What's the trend?
The trend is Goggles with Magmatic Insight and Fall of the Titans and Tormenting Voice. And Drownyard Temple, like that package
we have
is now in 2 decks.
Yeah, we have the new blue draw cards, or the new red draw cards. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, red has good card draw. What kind of format? Red and black are the card drawing colors. What format are we in again? What a format to be in. Sideboard cards. The Secure the Waste, I guess that works with Westvale Abbey pretty well. Eldrazi Obligator's a house too. That thing comes out of nowhere and can do a lot of work.
Yeah.
This is a cool deck. All right, so that's our top 8, Chad. That's what made.
Do you think Hallowed Moonlight is the card to play against company decks?
I don't know about that. Like, Hallowed Moonlight really used to. You played it to wipe out Rally the Ancestors because it was not a May ability on Rally. You would wipe their entire graveyard out, or everything you cared about in their graveyard.
Yeah.
Whereas with Collected Company, it's a May ability, so you cast Collected Company, they cast Hallowed Moonlight, you just take all 6 cards and put them on the bottom of your library. I mean, it stinks. I think I'd rather have Negate. It costs the same. Obviously, it's blue, but it's a lot wider, and it does the same thing.
So
Hallowed Moonlight cycles.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, so that's good. And the fact that a lot more people are running the Abbeys, and there's more Secure the Way hitting the boards. So there's one other option for it. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to jack in price, but the fact that we see it in the top 8 deck is pretty cool.
Sure. Absolutely. So what did you think of the top 8, Chad?
Oh, man. So I'm looking through the top. We didn't have a single deck that was the same.
We have tokens.
Amazing.
We have a company deck. We have 2 company decks technically, but they're very different. We have an Esper Control. We have mid-range and Esper Dragons. You have black-green You have an Aristocrats deck. You have a black-green Control deck. There's 2 control decks basically.
Yeah.
You have a ramp deck, and you have a red-white basically mid-range deck.
Yeah. The other thing, and I think we were talking about this before the show, no aggro. No non-conditional aggro. No. I would like.
But that being said, aggro was definitely prevalent and did very well. Just looking down the list of wins, decks that went 9-1. Basically because remember when you look at the Pro Tour, there's a draft component to it, so you don't look at the overall standings if you're just looking for good standard decks. Yeah. You look at the win percentage just for the standard portion. So if you look down the list, and we're kind of skipping over Jeskai Control, which we can get to, but there's a Mono White Humans deck by Patrick Cox that had 8 wins, that went 8-1, or 8-2 rather. We can talk about that deck real quick.
Sure.
2 Anointer of Champion, 4 Dragon Hunter, 4 Expedition Envoy, 3 Kythian, 4 Thraben Inspector, 4 Town Gossip Monger, 4 Anafenza Gintry Spirit, 4 Knight of the White Orchid, 4 Thalia Lieutenant, 10 spells, 2 Griffspoon, 4 Declaration in Stone, 4 Always Watching, 18 Planes, and for sideboard he has 1 more Planes, 2 Griffspoon, 4 Handwear Militia Captain, 2 Silk Wrap, a Bygone Bishop, 2 Stasis Snare, and a Gideon Ally of Zendikar.
This deck is nuts.
Yeah, no. Anointer of Champions, by the way, is a 1 white human cleric 1/1, and you tap it and target attacking creature gets +1/+1 till the end of turn. So Tom Ross did a deck tech on this on Star City Games earlier this week, a deck very much like this, and he said Anointer of Champions really messed up combat math for people.
I can see that.
And if you look down, the one thing I really like about this deck, it has a Plains in the sideboard, and then it has 3 Gideon.
I think that's right.
It gives it a very nice top end, and you can side in your Plains. If you start getting a little heavier with like some more Stasis Snares or Gideons for removal.
And the fact that you're only running 18, it almost guarantees your Knight of the White Orchid hitting every time.
Yep, all the time.
So
this is your somewhat standard human aggro, but I mean, and it's white. Never have to worry about mana ever in your life.
So you know what else I've noticed about this Pro Tour? It seems like, except for a single card that's usually a 4 of in the decks, the rest of the deck is fairly costly. Like, not costly. It doesn't cost as much. A lot of the decks are playing commons, uncommons mostly. And a lot of the people at home can just sleeve these up if they have the particular cards that usually were from a set or 2 ago.
So right now, this Mono White Humans deck is $261 if you were to just go out and buy it for what the paper price is, which is, I mean, that's pretty fair.
And I mean the biggest cost is Gideon.
I mean, and the most expensive list on here right now is Bant Company at about $720, but the next one down, Esper Dragons is $628, and but the next one down from that, White Green Tokens $573. Then everything else is like $300 to $200. Everything else, so it's not horrific.
I mean, obviously for people just starting out, that sounds like a lot of money, but it's one of these things that if you are playing a block of Go, you already have probably $200 of these $300 decks.
Sure. So why don't we talk about the
Jeskai
list? Yeah, talk about the Jeskai Control list by Robert Pisano, Chad.
All right, I'll run it down. Oh man, Dragon Master Outcast.
Yeah, he's back.
Where's that card been?
Yo, and look at what else is in there. Jason's favorite card, Ojutai's Command. Awesome combo.
All 4.
So do the list, man. Do the list.
1 Dragon Master Outcast, 4 Jace Vryn's Prodigy. Then to spells, 1 Fiery Impulse, 1 Rending Volley, 3 Avacyn's Judgment. I was waiting for this card to come out. 1 Declaration in Stone, 3 Nagging Thoughts. I played against this online before. We'll get back to Avacyn's Judgment and Nagging Thoughts. 2 Negate, 3 Fiery Temper, 3 Radiant Flames, 4 Nahiri the Harbinger. So that's pretty cool. 4 Ojutai's Command, as we said. 2 Chandra Flamecaller, and 2 Descend Upon the Sinful. In lands, we have 27. 1 Battlefield Forge, 3 Evolving Wilds, 2 Island, 4 Mountain, 3 Needle Spires, 2 Plains, 4 Prairie Stream, 4 Shivan Reef, and 4 Wandering Fumarole. In the board, 2 Dispel, 1 Dragon Master Outcast, 1 more, 2 Rending Volley, 2 Declaration in Stone. I believe that makes it 3 total. 2 Negate, which makes it a 4. 4 Fevered Visions. This card is so good. 1 Kozilek's Return, and 1 more Descend Upon the Sinful. Now going back, Avacyn's Judgment is 1 generic, 1 red, a sorcery rare. It has Madness, X, and red. And we all know what Madness is. And then Avacyn's Judgment deals 2 damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or players. If as Avacyn's Judgment Madness cost would pay, it deals X damage divided as you choose among those creatures and or players instead. So it's basically a fireball that you can tell it to go anywhere. Nagging Thoughts, which is a 3 of, is 1 generic, 1 blue, sorcery common, and it has look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. And then it has Madness for 1 generic and 1 blue.
So this deck's pretty beautifully built too. So I think you need to start with Nahiri, because this deck takes total advantage of our +2 ability. So you plus Nahiri and you discard a card, and if you do, draw a card, and then you have Nagging Thoughts, which has a Madness cost, Avacyn Judgment, which has a Madness cost, and then you also Fiery Temper, and then you also have Ojutai's Command. So even if you get rid of any of the creatures in this deck, your Jace or your Dragon Master Outcast, you can go get them back.
Yeah.
So this is a really synergistic build here. This is cool. Main deck Negates, which I think are really good right now.
Yeah,
Definitely really good.
I agree with that. There's so many collected companies running around. Declaration in Stone.
Who would have ever thought blue would have been like one of the weaker colors in the standard format?
That's pretty interesting.
Coming off of, I mean, I guess it's fair, right? Coming off of Dig Through Time and Treasure Cruise, right? Like maybe it's fair that blue gets a little bit of a downgrade for a while.
It belongs to be in the shadows a little bit.
Yeah.
Descend Upon the Sinful, for those that don't know that are listening or viewing, it is 4 generic white, a sorcery, and if you're viewing, I feel like an idiot because you can just read this yourself, but it has exile all creatures, and with Delirium, put a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying onto the battlefield if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. This deck has the possibility to do that. It's got the sorceries, it's got the planeswalker, it's got the instants, and then it has some creatures and Evolving Wild, so it can easily get to there. And the fact that it's only running 5 creatures plus being able to get them back with you can't get them back if they're exiled, but Descend Upon the Sinful can work.
This is cool. I like this deck. This looks like a lot of fun to play. Let's see what we have. So we got Grixis Control. There's a Grixis Control deck. So this was an 8-2 deck by Oliver. No, it is not Patrick Chapin. It's by Oliver TU. Maybe he was on Patrick's team though. So this is playing 11 creatures, 4 Jace Vryn's Prodigy, 3 Kalitas Trader. Sorry.
Great. Okay, go on.
4 Jace Vryn's Prodigy, 3 Kalitas Trader Get, 4 Goblin Dark Dwellers, 4, and then 23 spells. 4 Fiery Impulse, 2 Grasp of Darkness, 2 Transgress the Mind, 2 Ultimate Price, 4 Kolaghan's Command. Haven't seen that card in a while. 3 Read the Bones, 3 Ruinous Path, 3 Chandra Flamecaller, 26 lands, 3 Evolving Wilds, 4 Foreboding Ruins, that's the black-red show land, Shadowland, 1 island, 1 mountain, 3 chivalry, 4 smoldering marsh, 2 sunken hollow, 5 swamp, and 3 wandering fumarole. In the sideboard, he has 2 Dragon Master Outcast, 4 duress, 1 rending volley, 2 transgress the mind, 4 radiant flames, and 2 Dragon Lord Silumgar. Pretty neat. He's got all the good black removal. He's got Dark Dwellers, which lets him, basically flash it back, and Jace. A lot of graveyard recursion in this deck.
I think somebody told him that everybody else was playing Goggles, so he has 4 Kolaghan's Command.
Well, look, you got to know you're going to see it. And the worst, this is a little creature heavy for a control deck. So, worst case scenario, you play your Jace without fear because he dies. Turn 3, you play Kolaghan's Command, make him discard, get your Jace back.
Yeah.
Then you've got another card in the yard. You can also kill clue tokens. I mean, maybe that's a thing. I don't know. But, there's a lot of clues floating around there. A lot of Thraben Inspectors out there. And 2 damage right now is not the worst thing in the world for all the aggro decks out there early on. So, this deck's... get your Dragon Master Outcast back post-board.
Nice.
Yeah, this is cool. Neat deck. So what else we got on the list, Chad? Anything?
I think I saw Sultai.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Sultai Midrange by Gregors Kowalski. I always like Sultai. So, 16 creatures. 2 Den Protector, 4 Sylvan Advocate, 2 Nissa Vastwood Seer, 3 Tireless Tracker, 2 Kalidas Trader of Get, 1 Guiltweaf Winnower. Haven't seen that in a while. 2 Dragonlord Silumgar to finish off the creatures. In spells, we have 2 Deadweight, 3 Traverse the Ulvenwald, 4 Grasp of Darkness, 1 Transgress the Mind, 2 Ultimate Price, 1 Read the Bones, 2 Ruinous Path, 3 Languish, and 2 Ob Nixilis Reignited. In lands, we have 25. 1 Blighted Fen, which is the one that is you can tap it for a colorless or for 4 and a black and tap, sacrifice it, target opponent sacrifices a creature. 4 Evolving Wilds, 4 Forest, 4 Hissing Quagmire, 1 Island, 4 Lanelore Waste, 1 Sunken Hollow, 5 Swamp, and 1 Yavimaya Coast. In the board, we're running 1 Caustic Caterpillar, which is a green, 1/1 for a generic and a green. Sacrifice this, destroy target artifact or enchantment. And then Dead Weight, 2 Duress, 1 Ultimate Price, 1 Playing Tendrils. I'm very surprised this hasn't been seeing more play.
What are you going to hit with it?
So I'm thinking the token deck.
Yeah, but the problem is the token deck. The token deck can make their creatures big pretty quick with Thalia's Lieutenant, and so I guess if you play it on curve, but he's only got a 1 of even, so that's I don't know. He's also got 2 Pick the Brain in the sideboard, 1 to the Slaughter, which is the 2 and a black target instant black card from Shadows over Innistrad. Target player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, and then if you have Delirium, he sacrifices a creature and a planeswalker. 2 Virulent Plague, 1 Conclave Naturalist. So this is, I don't know if I've ever seen this in a list from a tournament. It's 4 green for a creature Dryad 4/4, and when Conclave Naturalist enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. He's got 1 Dark Petition, 1 more Guiltleaf Winnower, and 1 Seasons Past. I guess with 3 Transverse the Ulvenwald, it lets you tutor up for your Caustic Caterpillars or your Conclave Naturalists out of your board or post board, so you can go find your enchantment or artifact removal. Probably getting ready for Goggles. The 3 Languish, which we've seen a lot of mid-ranger control. Esper Dragons, which is pretty much a mid-range deck, has it for the Bank Company. Sylvan Advocate. I think Sylvan Advocate was like the top card played. It was the top card played at the Pro Tour with 158 copies. It was in 36% of all the decks played at the Pro Tour. So I know last show we talked about Declaration from Stone probably being the most played card, but But no, man, Sylvan Advocate beat it out. 158 copies, Declaration in Stone, only 150 copies. Although Declaration in Stone was played in more decks. 46% of all the decks in the Pro Tour played Declaration in Stone. But yeah, deck looks interesting. Looks like a mid-range deck.
Which one are we talking about now?
Sultai mid-range.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. There were more Sultai mid-range. There was a white-black control list that was played. We can run down this list pretty quick.
We didn't do any blue-white humans either.
Are there? Well, oh yeah. Okay, so there are. All right, let's do blue-white humans because that's obviously a deck.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna pick the one that went 8-2 by Raymond Chung.
Okay.
And this plays 30 creatures: 3 Kythian, 4 Thraben Inspector, 4 Town Gossipmonger, 3 Consuls Lieutenant, 4 Knight of the White Orchid, 4 Thalia's Lieutenant, 4 Reflector Mage, 1 Archangel Avacyn, and then 8 spells: 1 Griffspoon, 4 Declaration in Stone, 3 Always Watching, 22 lands, 13 plains, 4 Port Town, 4 Prairie Stream, 1 Westvale Abbey. In his board, he's got 1 Dispel, 1 More Invasive Surgery, there it is again, 2 Felidar Cub, 2 Negate, 1 Eerie Interlude, 2 Stasis Snare, 2 Vryn Wingmare, that's the 2 and a white, 2/1 Flying Pegasus that non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast, 2 Archangel Avacyn, and 2 Dragonlord Ojutai. Looks like a pretty stock list. The Vryn Wingmare is kind of new in the board. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Other than that, the big thing I'd like to note is this is basically mono white with Reflector Mage.
Yep, that's it. Well, and then it's got a ton of board stuff that's blue.
Yeah, it does. But if you're playing against this first round, first match, just beware that if you're playing against what seems like a mono white humans, it could easily be a blue white.
Yeah, and if they play a dual land with blue in it, they've got Reflector Mage.
Yeah,
they definitely have Reflector Mage. So let's see. White-black control. You want to hit that list, Chad?
Yeah.
All right.
White-black control by
Tuan Nguyen.
Nguyen. I think we've seen him a lot before.
Yeah, we've heard his name before.
He's running 7 creatures, 2 Ilia, Eternal Pilgrim, 2 Kalidas, Trader of Get, and 3 Archangel Avacyn, all the legendaries. 27 spells. He's running 3 Secure the Waste, 2 Declaration in Stone, 4 Grasp of Darkness, 3 Ultimate Price, 2 Anguished Unmaking, 2 Read the Bones, 2 Ruinous Path, 4 Gideon Ally of Zendikar, 3 Languish, 1 Obnixilis Reignited, and 1 Sorin Grim Nemesis. In lands, he's got 26, 4 Caves of Koilos, 4 Forsaken Sanctuary. Now this is the uncommon, comes in tapped black-white. 6 Plains, 4 Shambling Vent, 6 Swamps, and 2 Westvale Abbey. In the board, he's running 4 Duress, 1 Declaration in Stone, 4 Transgress the Mind, 1 Ultimate Price, 1 more Anguish Unmaking, 2 Flaying Tendrils, and 2 Linval the Preserver.
So this looks like a pretty stock white-black control list.
Yeah, I mean, it's got everything you need. I mean, maybe it's me. I'm actually surprised it's not running 1 more Westvale because of the fact that it has 3 secures in the main.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I've played this a little bit and sometimes have had mana problems.
Okay.
Just because a lot of the stuff's double black or double white, so. But, yeah, it seems alright.
Yeah, I could see that. Go ahead.
No, I mean, it's interesting that he's got all his hand disruption in the board. A lot of these lists play some hand disruption in the main, but Tuan's chosen to just put it all on the board, which is probably a nod to the fact that up until the Pro Tour, there haven't been a lot of really control lists running around.
Yeah.
Bank Company is a thing, but you've got plenty of creature removal kind of to handle that. So my bet is you're going to see, in lists like this, you're going to see a lot more. If control comes roaring back, either in the black-green form or the Esper form, you're going to see a lot more hand disruption start creeping back in the main boards.
I'd like to make a note. As we've been reading through these lists, and while we're still on control, a lot of the decks are forcing Ruinous Path.
Yes, they are. Over Anguished Unmaking.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the same reason you were talking about before. There's not a lot of life gain anymore.
Nope. not a ton. So we've got an Abzan company list. Have you seen this thing?
No, I didn't know Abzan was still a thing.
Yeah. No. Oh, yeah, it's still a thing. Abzan Control, too, but we'll talk about Abzan Company. So it's being played by Maitland Cameron. So this went 7-3. So a little farther down the list, but he's playing 1 Eiley Eternal Pilgrim, 4 Deathcap Cultivator, 2 Elvish Visionary, 4 Sylvan Advocate, 4 Catacomb Sifter, 3 Eldrazi Displacer, 4 Matter Reshaper, 2 Nantuko Husk, 1 Nissa Basswood Seer, and 4 Archangel Avacyn.
Nice.
4 Collected Company, and 2 Tragic Arrogance for spells, and then 25 lands, 3 Canopy Vista, 4 Caves of Quelos, 3 Evolving Wilds, 3 Forest, 1 Hissing Quagmire, 2 Holdout Settlements. So that's the tap for a colorless mana from Oath of the Gatewatch, and then it also taps an untapped creature you control to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. 4 Llanowar Waste, 2 Plains, 1 Shambling Vent, 1 Swamp, 1 Westvale Abbey. In the sideboard, he's got 3 Hallowed Moonlight, 4 Transgression of the Mind, 2 Anguished Unmaking, 4 Fleshbag Marauder, 1 Thought Not Seer, and 1 Tragic Arrogance. I don't like this deck.
I think it's got a, all right, first I'm going to say it's got a place. And for that, that's basically all I'll say at this moment. Only because with the 2 holdout settlements, you're being forced to play those because you don't have
enough to get colorless.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have the colorless, and you don't really have a good Abzan package right now as far as lands.
This plays 4 Archangel Avacyn, so you have basically 25 creatures you can hit off Collected Company. And I have to tell you, from playing Collected Company for a long time, 26 is about how low you want to go.
Okay.
Like, so post board, I've gone as low as 24, but that's scary. But with this, like, main board, you've got 25. You've got 25 creatures, and here's the thing: you don't have a lot of good sideboard options in these colors, in the creature-wise.
Yeah.
To side in. You have your Fleshbag Marauders. That's pretty much it. Like, you don't. Whereas with some other colors, you have some good sideboard options of creatures that you can side in that will do things that you want them to do as sideboard cards.
Yeah. Again, also, a lot of these cards, I think you would want to keep on the field. And the fact that Nantuko Husk is in here is kind of odd to me.
Well, you've got 4 Matter Reshapers, so they are semi-replacement. Sifter, makes you a token. But yeah, still, it's just, it seems kind of all over the place.
Yeah, the one thing I do like, and it seems like this is what he was going around, was he's running 3 Eldrazi Displacers, and this thing hits Avacyn to keep all your creatures alive. This thing hits not Matter Reshaper, this thing hits Elvish Visionary. That's what I was looking at.
Right.
Because you don't have to tap to exile another target creature you control, and it's so good. Being able to draw. So you can go through your deck pretty quick.
So we've got a couple of other. I'm just scrolling down these lists. There's only really like 2-3 other lists I was looking at. There's Abzan Control right under it. This is kind of nutty. Why don't you just read this down real quick, Chad?
Sure.
I don't we want to spend a lot of time on this, but
by Scott Kirkwood, 7 wins. He went 7-3. Abzan Control running 3 Elvish Visionary, 2 Catacomb Sifter, 1 Nissa Vastwood Seer. I don't know what it is. Alright, 28 spells, 1 Dead Weight, 1 Secure the Waste. This is already weird. 1 Sinister Concoction, 1 Traverse the Ulvenwald, 1 Declaration in Stone. That's so many one-ofs. 2 Grasp of Darkness, 2 Transgress the Mind, 2 Ultimate Prize, but we're not done. 1 Anguish Unmaking, 2 Painful Truths, 1 Pulse of Marasa, 2 Ruinous Path, 1 Hedron Archive, 3 Languish, 2 Dark Petition, 1 Ob Nixilis Reignited, 1 Descend Upon the Sinful, and 1 Seasons Past. So we've got the combo sort of here. And then finishing off with 2 Sorin Grim Nemesis. Then we've got 26 lands, 2 Canopy Vista, 2 Caves of Koilos, 4 Evolving Wilds, 3 Forest, 2 Hissing Quagmire, 3 Llanowar Waste, 2 Plains, 4 Shambling Vent, and 4 Swamp. In the board, 1 Caustic Caterpillar, that's basically the creature with Naturalize, 2 Duress, 1 Clip Wings, 2 Hallowed Moonlight, 1 Hidden Dragon Slayer, 1 Quarantine Field, 1 Transgress the Mind, 1 Flaying Tendrils, 1 Virulent Plague, 2 Calatus Trader of Get, 1 Orbs of Warding, 1 Limball the Preserver. Now I know why you wanted me to read this.
This is weird.
This is very odd. I mean, it's got what we were talking about earlier, the Season's Pass combo, but it's only running 2 Dark Petition. Is this, like, where's Bring to Light in this? I feel like that's what it wanted.
I mean, it just seems kind of all over the place again. I just think the black-green list does everything this list wants to do, but it just does it better, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is really hard to make work, it seems. So you're running 3 language to keep yourself alive.
I would almost say, like, okay, maybe he's just trying to get delirium with all these one-ofs and, you know, like, different, like, he's got enchantment, Sinister Concoctions, enchantment removal, and, you know, he's got sorceries and instants and creatures, he's got Hedron Archives and Artifact, and he's got Planeswalker, so, okay, maybe he's trying to get delirium, but there's 1 Transverse the Ulvenwald.
Yeah.
It's the only delirium card in here.
I mean, maybe we're missing something, and he's got some other idea behind it, but
I mean, I'd be interested to hear. I'm not saying it's bad. I have no idea. I'd just be interested to hear how this got built and what
going 7 and 3 is nothing to scoff at.
Nope, not at all.
It's just it's a very odd build.
Yep. So, going down the list, we've got Jund by Park Jun-young.
All right. So before we go on, the first one that was on camera was a Jund deck with being played by Brian Kibler.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be awesome, and he didn't win.
Didn't turn out so well. Nah. Well, this one apparently is awesome because Park Jun-young, not Jund, not Park Jun, Park Jun-young, went 7 and 3.
Nice.
So he's got 13 creatures, 2 Den Protectors, 4 Sylvan Advocate, 1 Nissa Vastwood Seer, 2 Tireless Tracker, 3 Goblin Dark Dwellers, and 1 Dragon Lord Atarka. He's got 21 spells, 4 Fiery Impulse, 3 Ultimate Price, 2 Kolaghan's Command, 1 Pulse of Marasa, 3 Radiant Flame, 2 Ruinous Path, 2 Explosive Vegetation, 1 Languish, and 3 Chandra Flamecaller. In lands, he's got 26, 4 Cinderglade, 4 Evolving Wild, 3 Forest, 4 Hissing Quagmire, 3 Llanowar Waste, 4 Mountain, 2 Smoldering Marsh, and 2 Swamp. And then his sideboard is 2 Duress, 2 Rending Volley, 2 Self-Inflicted Wound, 4 Transgress the Mind, 2 Read the Bones, 2 Kalia's Trader of Get, and 1 Languish. This looks scarily like a Jund deck I built right before I went to GP Houston, and I was actually going to take it with me and play. And kind of last minute, I binned it and went and played Rally the Ancestors, which was a good choice. But, I mean, first off, there are other than the Tireless Trackers, no Shadows over Innistrad cards in here at all.
Wow. Yeah, I guess I wasn't paying attention to that.
And actually, none in the board either. Tireless Trackers. That's what we get.
That's weird. That's odd.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I said this list is very much like the other list that I built. Because, I mean, all the cards you would imagine that would be in a Jund deck are in here from last pre-rotation.
Gotcha. So, as you were reading down the list, I know Jund doesn't need any fixing right now, but it also doesn't have any confident card draw.
No.
So
well, I mean, it has what's it called? Painful Truths. If you want to play it.
That's a good point. And
this doesn't have it.
Yeah. So Painful Truth is someplace I would go, but as you were reading down the spells and you got to Explosive Vegetation, I was a little confused because this tops out at, I guess it's for Dragon Lord Atarka to get there.
And it runs 3 Chandras, so that can get you there too. I mean, you can get a turn 5 Chandra.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Also, it works really well with Tireless Tracker.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point too. It
you
just seems
two
out of place to me.
Like turn 3 Tireless Tracker, turn 4 drop a land, get a clue token, and then cast your Explosive Edge, get 2 more clue tokens. There's your card draw right there.
Okay.
I mean, it's incidental and it's slower, but still, I don't know how the deck plays. Maybe you don't need. Maybe they realized that that's kind of all they needed was just, a draw card here or there.
I like the fact that Goblin Dark Dwellers hits almost everything in the spell package.
Yeah, pretty much. So
except for one card. Yeah.
Yeah, one card.
One language. That's pretty cool.
So Chad, do you want to go over the blue-red goggles or the blue-red goggles deck here?
Yeah, I might as well. You've been talking about playing all these decks, and I haven't played one of these. So where are we at? 7 wins.
So Mike Sigrist playing blue-red goggles, I believe.
Mike Sigrist is white-green tokens. You've got
Thierry Rambo. Sorry,
Thierry Rambo playing blue-red goggles. He went 7-3 as well. He is okay. He is running 4 Jace Vryn's Prodigy, 4 Thing and Ice, and 4 Goblin Dark Dwellers. Wow. So moving on, he's running 4 Fiery Impulse, 4 Magmatic Insight, 2 Rending Volley, 2 Roast. These are in the main. 4 Tormenting Voice, 4 Fiery Temper, 2 Chandra Flamecaller. In the lands, he's running 4 Drownyard Temple, 4 Highland Lake, which is the tapped blue-red card. It comes into tap. It's the uncommon Shadows over Innistrad land. 2 Island, 8 Mountain, 4 Shivan Reef, and 4 Wandering Fumarole. In the board, he's running 4 Clash of Wills, 1 Rending Valley, 2 Negate, 1 More Roast, 2 Kozilek's Return, 1 Spell Shrivel, 3 Reality Smasher, and 1 Chandra Flamecaller. This deck seems... Alright, so at first look, it seems like this deck doesn't want to really get the combo off, as far as you have the possibility of killing them with burn as well as
there is no burn, really. There's no what's it called, Fall of the Titans.
So I mean, the only possible burn is the 4 Fiery Tempers to the face, but yeah,
well, he's not even playing any goggles.
Yeah, that's where I'm confused.
He's using Dark Dwellers for recursion.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, while they're good, you're only you're only getting it off once. I mean, it's hitting every single spell package in your in there, and the fact that you don't need to discard a card with Tormenting Voice because you've already paid its casting cost with Dark Dwellers is good, but you're not drawing 4 cards. I mean, I feel like Blue-Red was all about ultimate card draw and not
you mean instead of drawing 2, you want to draw 4?
Oh yeah.
So really you're up 3, so you're talking instead of broken card draw, you just get 2 now on this deck.
Yeah, exactly. But
fair enough.
I don't know. I mean, obviously he went Pro Tour 7-3, so that is something to be amazed by. But this isn't something I wouldn't want to test out this deck, because I played the blue-red that Todd Anderson played, and I just like the fact that the other one, it seems smoother. This one doesn't seem as smooth to me.
Fair enough, man.
5 is getting to Chandra in the other deck is difficult. I mean,
yeah,
it's easier to make Thing of Ice flip than it is to get to 6 mana.
Fair enough. So there's one more deck I wanted to go over. Just one. Unless there's anything else you want to go over too.
No, I think we've
all right.
Done
so
well.
All the way down on the bottom is 6-4 Christian Siebold. You've heard that name before, and he is playing Mono Red. That's right. Mono Red went 6-4 at the Pro Tour. Unfortunately for all of you Mono Red aggro fans, you'll notice I just said Mono Red. This is not Mono Red aggro. This list is weird. He is playing 34 spells. That's right. No creatures.
Oh, okay.
There's a red deck with no creatures. He's playing 34 spells. 2 Fall of the Titan, 2 Fiery Impulse, 4 Lightning Axe, 4 Magmatic Insight, 4 Tormenting Voice, 4 Vessel of Volatility, 1 in a red enchantment from Shadows over Innistrad, and then for 1 in a red you sacrifice Vessels and add 4 red to your mana pool. 4 Fiery Temper, 2 Kozilek's Return, 4 Pyromancer's Goggles.
Wow.
This is a deck for Jason. He's going to play this deck. And 4 Chandra Flamecaller. And then for lands, he's got 26. Yes, 26 lands in a mono red deck. 4 Drownyard Temple, 4 Foundry of the Consoles, 14 Mountains, and 4 Shivan Reef. For a sideboard, he's got 3 Rending Volley, 4 Eldrazi Obligator, 4 Thought-Knot Seer, and 4 Reality Smasher. So this is like mono red Eldrazi with the Eldrazi in the sideboard.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he just forgot to put them in his main deck.
I feel like
and just messed it up.
So when I see this deck, it looks like a trick. It looks like, all right, first game I'm just going to trick them to think that they can do something to a creature, but I don't have any.
First game I play Basic Mountain, and they start playing defensively. Then I play Basic Mountain on turn 2, and they play defensively. Yeah, but by turn 5, when I play Basic Mountain and there's no creatures, they're like, what the hell is happening?
Why is there a Pyromancer's Goggles on the table?
Yeah, like where's the vampires?
Yeah, exactly. And he's got the Fall of the Titans as the burn, but they're only 2. And the only other 2 to face is Fiery Temper. Seems crazy. So let's talk about Vessel.
Okay.
All right.
Let's talk about Vessel.
Cast Vessel for 2.
Yep.
Fine. It's down. Nobody's doing anything because who cares about enchantments right now? And because Crypt Lithite wasn't a deck until the Pro Tour. We've got.
Do you know what Vessel's there for?
Sack Fall.
It's for it. No. You play Vessel on 2.
Yeah.
Draw. Play another mountain. Sack Vessel. Get 4 red mana. Tap your other mountain that you played on turn 3. Play turn 3 Goggles. Tap Goggles. Play Lightning Axe. Kill 2 things.
Okay.
Turn 3 Goggles. That's what Vessels get you.
Wait,
you can get it. Or you could get a turn 4 Chandra.
Hold on, we got to go through the math on that one. So.
Yeah. So turn 2.
You
have 2 lands and you play Vessels.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, so you pass your turn. Opponent does what he does. You untap. You draw. You play your 3rd land on your 3rd turn.
Yes.
So now you have 3 lands out. You spend 2 of that mana to get to sacrifice Vessels and get 4 red. You tap your 3rd land. Or on turn 3, same thing. Or turn 4 rather, same thing. Sack Vessels, get Chandra. Or play Chandra rather. So turn 4 Chandra, it's pretty good.
Yeah, turn 4 Chandra. And they're running 4 of both Pyromancer's Goggles and Chandra. So yeah, that could very well be exactly it.
I mean, a turn 4 Chandra is pretty rough. I mean, what do you do about that? Like, you better have Anguished Unmaking.
Or Ruinous Path.
Or Ruinous Path, and by turn 4, there ain't a heck of a lot of creatures that I can think of that stand up to Chandra. Like, they're mostly 3 toughness.
Yeah.
What do you do? Turn 4 Chandra, like, do you Collected Company? Do you what do you do about that? You just got, like, if you do nothing, you're taking 6 on turn 4.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're going to take 6 on turn 5. Like, that puts you on the back foot pretty freaking quick.
Yeah, so I wasn't even thinking about that, but yeah, that gets to Chandra and Pyromancers very quick.
Yep.
Which is pretty sweet.
And there's some burn here, so like turn 4 Chandra, hit you for 6. Turn 5. Alright, you didn't play a creature to block, I hit you for 6 more. And then I cast 5, and then I Fall of the Titans you for 4 and kill you on turn 5.
Yeah, because I'm actually dealing 8 because I cast it with the Goggles, so.
Well, no. Even if you don't have the Goggles, you just, or like, all right, what's it called?
Fiery Temper.
Where's this fire? Yeah, I Fiery Temper you for 3 to the face. Like, I mean, that's a real thing.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Eldrazi were in for games 2 and 3.
Oh yeah. Well, you don't play any creatures. They side their creature removal out, and then wait, what? Reality Smasher? What?
You didn't see this coming, did
you? So that's in a nutshell, was the Pro Tour.
I like that the Shivan Reefs can get your Eldrazi out too. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, they can get you and they can power up your Obligator.
They're like, I don't care about this blue.
Yep. Nope. I'm
not taking damage.
So that's it. That was the Pro Tour, Chad. That was everything.
Yeah. It was great.
It's diverse as hell. Like, I don't want to hear anybody tell me that Bant Company is the only deck or the only even good deck. Bant Company was 23% of day 1 and 20% of day 2. So,
Yeah.
and 10 band company list went 6 or 2 or better. So that's a 56% conversion rate. And for those of you that don't haven't listened in during our last Pro Tour segment, conversion rate is how many decks went from day 1 to day 2. So Band Company did not have the best conversion rate. Mono White Humans had a 70% conversion rate.
Yeah.
Followed by Red Green Ramp, or followed by where the best conversion rate though? Black Green Aristocrat and Goggles Ramp.
No, you liar.
Nope, I swear to God, the best conversion rate by percentage,
No,
not by number.
You're wrong.
What do you mean?
Percentage
Oh,
on the very
you are
bottom.
a thing in the ice. All right, that doesn't count.
Blue, red. Yeah.
There was, and it did not do 6 or 2. We're not counting that. That's a small sample size. Nope. So the best conversion rate was green white tokens actually, and black green aristocrats. 92% for aristocrats and 90% for green white tokens. So Band Company, not a great conversion rate, just a lot of decks. Still a good deck. Don't get me wrong, but it definitely has some. It definitely has its way to go to make it in the top 8s from now on.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Chad? Let's wrap it up. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
I think the Pro Tour is going to form what we see going forward for FNM, for SCG, for Grand Prix. But while I say that, there's so much diversity in this new standard that we've come to see, and the Pro Tour, everybody likes a net deck. I mean, even if you're a brewer, you still like to take a net deck and tear it apart. But seeing all this diversity, there's so many avenues you can go, and because of that, you don't know how to board. So there's going to be a lot of different boarding options. There's going to be a lot of things that people are going to expect. Like Bob was just saying, we have a 56% conversion. That doesn't mean we're not going to see Band Company. It's going to be prevalent, and so are Mono White Humans. But what do? Do you put in Kolaghan's Command to fight against the humans, thinking that they could be playing Goggles now, or do you put in things like what's the white green one, Dromoka's Command, because Cryptolith Right is going to be a thing now. Like it's going to be, the boarding is going to be what makes every game second and third.
Yep. So for my final thoughts, first off, this is a really great standard. If you want to play aggro, you can play aggro. You want to play ramp, you can play ramp. You want to play combo, you can play combo. And if you want to play control, you can play control. And guess what? All of them did fairly well at the Pro Tour. There's good lists for all of them out there that you can play around with. It's great. I mean, it's a great time to be playing standard. So just so you guys know, I also want to talk about something else on a little more personal note. I have not been on a health food kick whatsoever. I have eaten cheesesteaks every night.
How dare you?
For the last 3 weeks.
You're going against everything we've preached.
Yeah. I am like pushing. Actually, I used to compete in fitness competitions, so I'm actually a pretty big health food nut. But I guess we should plug what? What do we plug here? Oh, Gamers Vault. We should plug Gamers Vault.
No,
so if you're down, quiet you. If you're down in Southern New Jersey, please stop by Gamers Vault. And we have Monday nights are standard, a little more competitive than your FNM standard. Thursday nights are modern. Tuesday nights are draft. And then Friday night FNM is modern, or is rather standard or draft. We've got a huge play space, tons of room, good inventory. We'll be heading out to SCGs and GPs next month.
Nice.
So we'll get that schedule up there, and if we're in your town, please come by and say hi to us at our table. You know what, Chad? I just flipped over to our Facebook. I shouldn't have done that, by the way. Apparently, Jason wants to make sure that we plug that Project VCR will be doing a Purple Rain episode. So, yeah. I don't know what that is, by the way. So, Project VCR, but
so if you like to listen to Jason while he's dressed up as Prince, that is what you'll get.
You will. He will be wearing a blouse and a outfit that looks like it should be in a figure skating competition.
Game blouses. But we digress. We digress.
We totally digress.
Go check out Jason's Project VCR episode.
Check out Jason's Project VCR episode.
They're very cool,
how about
but ours are better.
They are. He is a great co-host, particularly when I'm on. Anyway, Chad, are you streaming?
Yeah, I've been streaming a game called The Culling. So it's basically the Hunger Games. You're dropped in the middle of nowhere, and you need to kill everybody on the island. So it's fun. But I've been streaming on YouTube Gaming, as we are doing right now. And if you subscribe, you'll get basically an email pop-up, something from YouTube Gaming saying, hey, this guy's going live, so whenever I'm streaming, feel free to stop by. If it's just for the higher standards because you like Magic more than any other game, which I don't blame you, check it out there. I also, every time we stream or I stream, it automatically posts as a video to YouTube, so feel free to go back and watch old streams, old episodes if you feel free. A lot of the ones that we do with the pros are great things to go back and listen to, because we don't talk about the current standard all the time. We talk about how to be better at standard, so that's a good thing. And there's one of my games with a blue-red that was just hilarious, because I ended up winning the first game. I believe I lost the second game, and then won the third game by mill with Sphinx's tutelage, which is always fun to watch.
Well, so that's the Pro Tour, guys. So thank you for tuning in. Jason should be back. We're gonna try and do an episode Wednesday to go more in depth. There were a couple of announcements at the Pro Tour which we didn't go over, but don't worry, we will go over them
Wednesday.
On our Wednesday, and we're gonna maybe go a little bit more in depth and talk about some decks that Jason liked. Although there's a lot of Goggles decks, so I don't know if he's gonna have a lot to talk about.
I hate the new standard. I don't want to see anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff he's liked.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys for listening, and we'll be back.
No, you took Jason's thing. All right. Thanks, guys, for stopping by. The viewer. Let me try and see if this turned that off. Thanks, guys, for stopping by on the Facebook. Damn, I am screwing up all over tonight. The YouTube page, and I'm going to cut this last section out so I don't sound like a complete moron. Bye.